Hello and welcome to Eyewitness Report on Channels Television. This week, Eyewitness picks on the Orile Agege fire incident and the local council authority reacts. Join us for these and more on Eyewitness Report. I'm Chris Elams. Enugu State has played a very significant part in the country for a very long time, especially with regards to coal mining. While these has gone moribund, efforts to revive these activities, which include issuance of licenses, haven't yielded much. Concerned parties want to see a change. Join us. Enugu, the coal city in southeastern Nigeria, evolved and developed into a permanent cosmopolitan settlement following the discovery of coal in 1909. As coal mining activities increased, businesses and lives flourished, and government at different levels enjoyed royalties accrued from the activities. However, with the discovery of oil in the 50s, the mining sector suffered a major blow, with the Railway and Electricity Corporation replacing its coal-burning engines with diesel-powered machines. Today, the Enugu mines are surrounded with thick bushes, flooded with water, and vandalized structures. The Nigerian Coal Corporation, which was once a beehive of activities, has become a shadow of itself, with just the relics at the gate, a reminder of what it used to be. The lives and camps of those who worked at the mines have also experienced setbacks. Matthew D.K. retired as a miner in Enugu. His health is also deteriorating.
They know we suffered when we were young, worked, drained our blood. Now we are dying. Our children equally living poorly. In fact, it's the duty of the government to take care of us, because we stayed under pork and with artificial air and everything. But sometimes as filter mechanized, because anytime water wants to take off any electrical apparatus within the mine, sometimes we stay 3 days without coming out. We must make sure that we eradicate the water before we come out. So all this thing, that everything, in fact now, my health sometimes, only God takes care of us. Because subsequently, I had been to hospital now. My sight now, I hardly see very well. When it's sunning like this, I don't come outside until that evening or very early in the morning.
In a bid to resuscitate the sector, the Obasanjo administration constituted a committee to produce a 7-year strategic plan for the development of solid mineral sector in Nigeria, a move that subsequently led to the issuance of licenses and lease to various companies to explore the minerals in Nigeria. In Enugu, 35 companies got the licenses to mine, and 28 out of them are to concentrate on coal. But since then, mining activities are yet to commence. In a recent meeting between the state governor, Eyewitness, and the Minister of State for Mines and Steel Development at the Government House in Enugu, the need to review the licensing topped the agenda.
Recall that we did emphasize that mining leases or licenses awarded by the federal government for most of these minerals, which cover almost every part of Enugu State, have been held for years by companies that have shown little or no interest whatsoever in exploiting or extracting the minerals. We are compelled to describe them as ghost investors, because they've hardly been seen anywhere near the supposed mining areas.
Who are the licensees and why are they not mining? We had a chat with the Enugu chairman of the Miners Association Nigeria, who described them as speculators.
From my experience and being into these mining activities in Nigeria, I can see fully that most of the say 2/3 of the companies in this country are trying to just have the opportunity or having the capacity to get the license, just to keep the license or to make sure they procure, tie down those areas where minerals are being, where they have gotten the deposits, and then keep it and subject most of those sites into moribund, that nothing is happening there, and they have made it impossible for people who are willing and ready and having the capacity to go into mining immediately.
Hyacinth Ohagu is a retired miner. He sheds light on what he knows.
From experience, what we discover from some of these investors are that, one, they try to raise money to acquire the license. When they acquire the license, they are not going to make use of the license. Practically, they simply wait for a serious investor that is a money bag, sell out the license and hands off, and take his own cut and move away. But when the genuine investors come around, the office there will not look at them. Sorry, I have to be plain, because why I'm being very open is for the government to correct the ills. If somebody that is genuine, serious-minded to exploit the mineral, why don't you ask about the data, full data of the investor? Periodically, you come around and check how far the person is going, or how far the company is going. So most of these licensees are not serious. If you go around all the coal fields so far identified in Enugu State, none is functional. Then coming to what the BP is supposed to do, Bureau of Public Enterprise, those are the people entrusted with the privatization exercises throughout the whole country. Now, I have not seen any good role they have played so far, because they were part of the negotiations. Now, these people come in, do a lot of things in the office and go free. The BP are not chasing them to force them to come and start doing something. Who is to be blamed? It's the government.
To satisfy our curiosity, we took a trip to one of the addresses as contained in the inventory. We found out that none of those companies existed physically there. We attempted to reach out to some of the licensees at the time of filing this report, but every attempt proved abortive. According to the state government, the last time they made contact with any of the licensees was in early 2016, when one of them needed an assistant to facilitate a community development agreement.
In 2016, that ministry widely published these lists and even issued notices of revocation on many of these companies. I want to agree that these are really non-present companies. You may say in a colloquial way, ghost companies, so to speak. But the details of their licensing and who they are do not rest or are not found here in the state government. So it's difficult for us to comment on how these licenses were given or even the competence and all that. That lies with the federal government. I want to assume that enough due diligence was done. But then, regardless of all these stories, what is important is that they do these things. If you're given a lease, you should come. And many of them have not come. A few of them have. And in keeping with the avowed policy of this government to drive investment promotion, to make it, to do whatever it takes within the capacity and within the legal authority of the state to enable these activities. The state has done that. The state is also has been able to communicate that to a number of these people, a number of these companies. One or two of them have approached us. Some at their preliminary levels, some of them are at the concept levels. But there was one it's called the Enugu Mining Limited. That's the only one that I'm aware that has gone further. And most of the regulatory and enforcement issues are done outside us.
Aside from the economy that has suffered a major blow, humans and environment also go through similar effects. Health and environment professionals discuss the way forward and how the environment and health should be catered to avoid degradation.
I want to address these things in four parts. Number one, if you engage workers, you must inform them about the hazards of the job that they're going to get into. So, first on, the workers come in, they must be informed very well of the hazards and then how to use the protective equipment that they will be given. Not just telling them, but practically demonstrating and the workers finally understanding how to use them. Then number two will include medical screening and surveillance. Medical screening means that you will screen them first to know whether they even have any respiratory disease, whether they already have occupational lung diseases, so that they will not come later to claim that it is by working for you that they develop this. So they must be screened. How do you screen them? An X-ray is done, and then what we call a lung function test or spirometry also should be done. And then a questionnaire where questions are asked and all that. So they have to go through that initial pre-employment screening, as it is regarded. Now, when they are now in the mainstream or have been employed, also medical surveillance should continue. Like every year, they will have to be screened again. The purpose of this screening every while in the work now is to detect early that early stage. So if that early stage is detected early, what it means is that you can move those workers that have been exposed to where they will have minimal contact with the dust from the coal and dust from the rocks and all that, thereby preventing the progression of the disease.
Before you can give license to private developers, especially in the mining industry, you must have a concrete arrangement and agreement. Impact assessment should be very, very, very key to it, because you need to know the impact those mining we do around that environment, and what are the mitigation plans of those people, investors. So with that you can package a program, and you make sure that it will be inclusive of the community around that thing, so that you have a successful investment there. Mining is something that can improve the living condition of people. It brings in a higher contribution to the GDP of a nation and things like that. But the impact on the environment is there too. You have to take into consideration those ones, because when you affect your environment seriously because you are looking for revenue, you might suffer more on that. So with a good packaged, supervised impact assessment program, you can have a deal with any mining corporation, especially if they have to go according to that, and they will tell you how they foreclosure that place, so that they don't create another problem after the mining program.
One thing that stood out in the course of the interactions with these people is the need for the federal government to carry both the state and local government along to ensure licenses are given to only those with the capacity to mine. Again, there is need for a geoscience research and solid database that actively encourages investors' participation, as well as create the enabling environment and key support infrastructure that can help the industry flourish.